And welcome to episode 5 of Second String Silverball. My name is George, and with me tonight I have MPT3K, aka Manu. And Manu, what is going on tonight? What is it that we're doing here?
All right, so this is something that we kind of wanted to play around with, but George, I really give you kudos for putting this together because this is ridiculous. Um, Cameras. There's a lot of conversation about cameras and what camera is good and what camera is terrible. So George and I got in conversation about this a lot. We have different kind of cameras we can use. We can go from webcams all the way up to like super expensive overkill, DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, whatever. And there was a conversation that came up in my Bay Area Slack group with, because of the current situation, everyone's streaming now. And so I would give a recommendation of what camera to use. And, oh, am I still here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I feel like I disappeared for a second. I
Nope.
would give recommendations of cameras to use, and always it would end in, but make sure you're lighting properly.
And
But
Dice, welcome to the stream. And two, go ahead and take notes. Please do.
yeah. So the short story is, after any recommendation I would give of a camera, depending on the person's budget, I'd say make sure you light the table properly, because you'd be surprised what amazing results you can get from lighting, 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 lighting. I could say it 100 times and people just go, no, it's the USB, it's the bandwidth, it's the fact that the CX405 is a crappy camera for doing playfield stuff. And I'm like, so,
Yes.
you know, there's, you know, there are tests we can do. And thankfully, George has many cameras and has tried many things. Correct, sir?
Yes, yeah, we have played around with a lot of tech. And not just us, mind you, it also, I feel like, is a lot of the people on Discord who are also on the stream watching right now. So people like Jedi McMuffin and Fliptronic, who's on, by the way. Hey guys, hey Dice, and yourself. There's Pinsomniac. There is Eon Flux 6, who was on today, helping a ton with camera related questions. So the community around pinball is amazing, and that's just the Discord I was talking about. I'm probably forgetting a dozen people, but there's also then Tilt forums, and on Tilt forums, you'd be surprised how much conversation goes around cameras and lighting and all of that jazz. And I tend to, as I'm reading, I feel like I'm hearing the same things you are, that it comes down to the camera or bandwidth or something else like that. But I think maybe what we're going to see here in the very near future could prove a little different from that.
Yeah. That You mentioned Eon. Yeah, they're hardcore. Definitely at the level of like Pull My Focus, which is my YouTube channel, which all we talk about is exposure triangle and ISO and this and that. And we have, I'd say maybe a third of our 115 episodes is about lighting. We'll do 3 episodes not about lighting and another episode about lighting, because lighting cameras don't work unless you have light. You can't see for that matter, your eyes don't work with unless they have something that reflects the light off of. Cameras especially so. So let's get into it then, right? Let me
Okay.
make sure I can see chat also. So I'm going to bring up
Yeah, bring up a window on the like on another
window
one.
on
Make sure to turn the
yeah,
audio off so we don't get an echo.
definitely.
So yeah, I was actually surprised the other day when Don't Panic Flip mentioned he was running 720 by 60 for the playfield, which is interesting. That's not something I was planning on messing with tonight, but that might be another fun stream to check out at some point. Would be what kind of quality differences do you get? Because if you're outputting to me at, let's say, 1080 as opposed to 720, but your playfield is rotated counterclockwise to what the full 1080 is, and of that 1080 you're using a very small bit, to me that means that the computer is re-rendering that image and doing a lot of interpolation across the video to basically, there just isn't that many pixels in that much smaller of an area, which is why I feel like for the playfield cam, I feel fine dropping it down to 720, because there's no way you're looking at 1280 by 720 pixels in that little, I would say it maybe about a little under 33% of what you're sending to Twitch, which is 1080. Mm-hmm. So that would be kind of a fun one, is to see how differently, either, I don't know if it's the NVIDIA video card, which would be doing that like image interpolation, if it's the CPU, if it's OBS, like whatever that is, if it creates a better or worse image because of that. So, do we want to jump over to the other screen, or do you have anything else you want to go over before we blow everybody's minds?
Well, I'm looking at the chat and I'm feeling a couple of things. Global Cop. Annoying when people have autofocus on is constantly hunting. Yeah, it's called focus breathing. And, the depending on the manufacturer and depending on the quality of the autofocus, it could get really annoying, or it could be pretty damn good. Canon cameras tend to have really good autofocus. But either way, we're going to turn that off, right? You got the playfield. When you're talking about the playfield, you got one point of focus.
Yeah, it's not moving.
Basically. Yeah, and it's not moving. You have basically one point of focus, unless it's George and he moves the machine halfway across the town.
By the way, I found out why the tilt pop wasn't triggering. I still had the piece of plastic that Ghostbusters came with that drops a middle post that puts it in the middle, and it had rotated in such a way to where it fell, and it was holding the tilt bob at just a perfect situation where I would really have to move the machine in order to get it to tag something. So
I wish I could blame my loss on that, but I don't think I can.
I
wish
can.
I could, bro. I wish I could.
I think you can. All right, so
watch the playback.
There are a couple times where I moved it thinking I was going to get a double danger, and I only got a single, and I think in one instance it had actually stopped the tilt bob from moving at all. And in that instance, there's one where I moved it probably a good 8 to 12 inches, and I got nothing out of it, and I just kept playing. So,
let's see. Jedi McMuffin. Well, my thought is with a Camlink 4K,
it's receiving uncompressed.
It has to handle receiving uncompressed. So if I reduce the source camera to 720,
yeah, going back to, are you outputting at 720 or 1080? And Jedi, that's exactly why I do the playfield at 720, because there's no way we're displaying anything close to 1080. We're not even displaying anything close to 720 when it actually gets put onto the display, because we have shrunk it down so much that I thought, why not alleviate some stress on USB and drop it to a lower resolution that's being pushed to the computer. And then I also want to talk Global Cop. I had a tilt bob cam forever, and you'll see people giving me crap that my tilt bobs are in Chicago because I had a camera on them and people didn't believe it was the camera. It was the tilt bob in the machine I was actually playing. So we'll bring a tilt bob cam back at some point, and you're absolutely right. In that last match, a tilt bob cam would have been super helpful. But I'm really struggling not to switch us over to the super cool screen.
Yeah, so we've got 4 cameras set up, all on auto settings right now. George, can we we need to let people know what your lighting situation is right now, because I know your lights are off right now.
Yes, lights are off right now. So this is going to be cameras all set to auto, and it's going to look a little funky because we're not doing any external lighting on the playfield, short of my 2 massive lights that are lighting me up, not the playfield directly. But we do have 4 other lights that we will be turning on. Colorado Pinball rating with a party of 23. That's amazing. Snow and Paul, you're awesome. My hat's off to you, and thank you so much for rating. This is a non-standard stream for us, though. There's going to be pinball playing, but it's not for the purpose of like actual pinball. What we're doing tonight is going over different cameras and how those different cameras for a playfield show how they work, and then how lighting will affect those. In fact, we were just about to switch over to this other view. So,
You wanna do
Georgie,
it? Let's do it.
let's do it. Okay, cool. Switching over.
Um,
That should be gone
ye-
now.
awesome. Yeah, the A6400 is going to be like the cream of the crop as far as what we're going to deal with tonight because of its sensors and also because of its ability to its low light capabilities. Basically, George bought a nice camera for pinball streaming, but also an amazing camera for him to go out and take shots of the family and of things. This is a beautiful camera to own, and you can be done. So, but this is the big boy right here in terms of how we're dealing with stuff.
Okay, so that's the A6400. Normally, by the way, if you guys have been on my stream before, there's a camera on me that focuses on me and then blurs out the background. That is the A6400 with the lens that I currently have on it. That is a 35 millimeter lens with no zoom capability and an f-stop of 1.8. So that is the Sony A6400. And did I say all those words right? Is it an f-stop of 1.8? Is that right? Okay.
Yes, you forgot to mention that you abuse bokeh like it's going out of style.
Bokeh
But
is
that's a different-
amazing.
That's a different thing between you and me, bro. That's all good. It's all good.
Okay. I also saturate my playfields, and I play around with the colors all the time. Fliptronic agrees. Bokeh for the win. Yes. Also, Global Cop says HDR, please. I don't understand that request.
HD. Well, no, we don't have any HDR capabilities on the stream. Twitch doesn't even have HDR capabilities. So, but I feel you, Global Cop.
Just looking at the playfield, I'd like something between the Kyo and the Logitech. Yeah, 1.8. Those are rookie numbers. You need to step those numbers up. Okay, cool. So moving to the right, next up we've got the Razer Kyo. I was a huge fanboy of all Razer products. I had a Razer laptop. I have Razer keyboards. I have Razer mice. I then had the Razer microphone, and I went out and also, just to complete the set, got the Razer Kyo camera webcam that was supposed to be able to do 60 frames per second at 1080, and I was nothing but disappointed with it completely. That said, I still use it for work meetings and whatnot, and I wanted to get a different perspective for tonight, so I threw it on here. Now, I interrupted you. I feel like you were about to say something.
I was about to say I never even heard of it. So this is great.
Okay.
It's got a little ring light too, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So I can turn that on like that, and then notice you can see the circle now on every camera.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn that back off.
Oh, that's too bad because I wanted to tell people that George is such a completionist. He's not putting all the cameras on one machine. He went out and got 4 Ghostbusters. Each one. No, I'm lying.
Yeah, let's just do that really quick. I have 4 hands. The Razer is supposed to be 60 frames per second at 1080, but I don't have a lot of control over the Razer, unfortunately.
That's quite the commitment.
Right? Okay, so
Nice.
off to the right, guys, we have the Logitech C920, and if you've done anything ever with webcams, you've probably come across the Logitech C920. It's the staple of relatively inexpensive webcams. It does 30 frames per second up to 1080. I've got it set to 1080 and 30 frames per second. So that's this guy over here.
It's currently listed on Amazon at $194
Right. And we're throwing out... Yeah, sorry, continue.
because of the current situation.
Yeah, guys, these prices that you're seeing here right now, these are either actual or guesstimates. I didn't want to put what the prices are currently because the prices on webcams and microphones have skyrocketed because everybody went from working in an office to working remotely overnight, and everybody needed webcams. So all the webcams are sold out everywhere. These are as close to what I think standard pricing is, or at least what it will be after the pandemic.
Fliptronic is asking, is the A6400 price, is it body only or do you get a kit lens?
No, that is body only price. For $1,200, I think you get the other lens I have, and then the lens I have on it was $450. That was the 35 millimeter 1.8 f-stop. Yep, as Jedi McMuffin confirmed, who has the exact same camera and lens, I think. Okay, so moving off to the far right, we have then the Sony Handycam HDR CX405 for $175. Honestly, you can get it way cheaper on eBay pre-pandemic. I got 2 of them for about $80 to $90.
Same here.
Okay, cool. So same thing. Normally those are a lot cheaper, but on Amazon right now they're $175, and I don't think that was all that much more expensive than what they were pre-pandemic. They were between $150 and $175 brand new. So Flipstream subscribing at tier 3. They've subscribed for 2 months. Flipstream, you're amazing. Thank you very much for that, and for that flex, right? I'm using that all the time now. That weird flex, but okay. I have saved that day. I clipped it, Flipstream. I clipped it, and then there are no sounds apparent that normally automatically play on stream. I lost my cached credentials, and we came down to the wire trying to get everything set up for this. So Sari also coming in awesome with those emotes, dabbing away. Also, I really like the rainbow there.
I want to mention real quick, AM Black is mentioning. I just want this out there. $150 will give you other options for handycam type video cameras, and that is true.
Yep. By the way, these are the cameras that I had access to, and I thought it was nice because they were at different price points. I thought, but there are a lot of other cameras out there. And this is just an example. You can find often, I think, something similar. And I think a big part of what we're going to see is how lighting affects each one of these. So, without further ado, should I just throw a quick game on so we can kind of baseline no light performance here? All right.
So George, while George plays out, I'll just give you guys a little more insight. All cameras, we check them, and they are all set to auto. And when George says no light, we do have the Pin Stadium Extremes, which are the LED strips. George has augmented lights also. I think he has 2 other LED panels, and he has 2 giant ambient LED kind of poles that not only lights the table with really nice ambient light, but also lights the talent, which is the person in front of the camera.
Usually.
So what you're seeing is auto settings on every camera. I'm going to scroll through. Fliptronics said, did you guys see... Who said that? Fliptronic, did y'all see my previous message asking about video bitrate settings? No, I didn't.
So video bitrate, we're outputting at 1080, 60 frames per second at 6,000, which is the maximum that Twitch allows.
That Twitch allows for affiliates.
For affiliates, correct.
Yeah. If you're Jack Danger, then you can get 8.
Is that how that goes? They get an extra 2,000?
Yeah.
God.
If you're a partner.
That's really good to know, because I always compare my camera, I feel like, to Jack, who's always looks amazing. I had no idea he had an extra, 25%?
Yeah. Aeon says I have some Canon ones. They work same as Sony. Yes, that's correct. I think the Sony, the CX405 you're talking about, that's kind of the cheapest, best camera that outputs 1080p 60. That's compatible with like your Elgato cam links, and a lot of it's like across the board is compatible with a lot of stuff.
Wait a second, Manu. Flipstream asked a really good question. He said, how are you doing a vertical down mounting? Do you have a crossbar or an arm and counterweight?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. He does have a counterweight. It's his daughter, Zoe.
No. I sent a picture up to Manu beforehand because I needed to find something that I could counterweight the boom mic arm with, because there's a lot of weight up here. Like it was threatening to fall down, and the only thing I could find was a chainsaw. So there is a not plugged in chainsaw attached via string to the other end over here. I took a picture. There is no joke. It's not a chainsaw. It's a handsaw. And I will post a picture to the Discord later tonight afterwards, showing you this entire ridiculous setup. But I apologize for interrupting, but I had to mention that because that was really fun setting up.
That's a smart observation out there, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dice, I don't know if you're being serious or not. You said, I'm going to lurk for a smidge while we get to face cams. That's the real meat and potatoes to me anyway. We're not doing face cams tonight.
Just playfield.
Just playfield, yeah. Logitech. Logitech is the one that I have. That's Wolfman. What's up, Wolf? What's up, Turkey?
Yeah.
By the way, he can improve. Okay, so yeah, Wolf, we're getting there, because Wolfman says, by the way, he can improve that Logitech, so it doesn't look so washed out. So once again, these cameras are all set to auto, and they tend to, with the exception of the 6400 and possibly the 405, the two Sony cameras, deal better with less dynamic range.
Yep.
The webcams, they're webcams. They have tiny sensors and big old fisheye lenses, so they're going to do as well as they can without dialing them in. That being said, we always dial in all our cameras, including the CX405. We're going to dial those in.
Okay, so do you guys want to see this now with the extremes turned on? I don't know why I'm waiting for an audience response there.
We're going to turn on the Pin Stadium Extremes, which, by the way, if you have a pinball machine and you don't have Pin Stadium lights, that's fine. Pin Stadium lights and Pin Stadium Extremes are very nice because they're long LED strips that run up and down the length of the pinball machine, and give you really good general illumination.
Yep.
You fired them up?
Yes. So I want to say no. I have not fired them up. I thought you said, are you going to fire them up? Yeah. So 2 seconds here. I wanted to point out two things. One, Fliptronic wants to see everything at its bestest ability, and we'll do that at the end. We'll get there. In the meantime, I want to keep it at auto while we do a couple different lighting scenarios. And then once we get everything turned on, I think we can go back in and kind of configure it to show everything at best. But I do want to point out, you can kind of see a reflection right now on the Keo, the 920, and the Handycam, where you can see the racks I have above in my garage here where I store a bunch of stuff. Watch what happens when we add additional lighting to the reflections.
Wow. So I'm so glad you pointed that out, George, because a lot of people say, I can't get rid of the reflections. And the first thing I think is you're not using enough light. You defeat that with lighting.
Yeah, which is interesting. Notice it's there subtly for the Logitech 920. It hasn't been there at all for the A6400. It just, the A6400's like, what reflections? The Handycam, it's there, but super subtle. But it's actually quite evident still with the Razer Keo HD. Like, you can still see it there, but it's almost gone completely on the Logitech 920, and I actually can't see it on the Handycam. So, now that so this is what Pin Stadium Extremes will do for you in these 4 different camera scenarios. So let's play another game. Also, another thing to point out, Manu, might be, and it was something that you taught me about a long time ago, which had to do with what's in focus and what's not across a long playfield, having to do with the lens, right? Something along those lines. I'm not using the right words, but you have them.
George, real quick, are you running, the Logitech is running a 1080-60, right? The 920?
The 920 is at 30, yep.
1080-20. If you have the 922, you can do 1080-60. Right?
Yes. It says 60, but okay, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
I don't think it actually does 60 is the problem.
Yeah, I'm feeling you too. Yeah. As far as the focus, distance and stuff like that. So with the webcams are built so that the subject is in the middle. Okay, because if you look at, there's not a lot of glass in a webcam. There's not a lot of, so in order for them to get this wide field of view, they use this really round, I would call it almost a fisheye lens, and they're doing stuff
Sorry,
in
that's
there.
so loud.
So generally speaking, you can tell someone's play field is nice and sharp in the middle, and it usually softens up on the way to the edges. and that's an artifact of the tiny distance that a webcam has to do all put its glass.
So I have
Yeah.
two other things I think we may have addressed. So originally, because we had everything set to auto, the lesser, I feel like the non-Sony cameras, when the lights flashed, made it really difficult to kind of follow what was happening. It's almost, I don't know if it was auto adjusting like light sensitivity while that was happening, and maybe if you had that set statically, it wouldn't be a problem. But as we add more light, I feel like we're getting rid of some of the negative effects there, but I'm not watching at the same time I'm playing, so maybe that's actually not the case. And the second thing I wanted to maybe bring up discussion around is, does the ball with at the pin stadiums, does it look more fluid in any of these screens than it did without the lighting?
All right. Throw up another ball. Let's see. So we're looking around. Yes, Jedi. No push-ups today. Okay.
Yeah.
Flipstream would be cool if the A6400 FOV was similar to the yes, but we mentioned in the beginning, you know, George has the lens set. I think he has the prime lens on there. So
Yeah, I have the 1.8. That is totally
Okay.
my bad.
let's see. Angle of camera versus angle of playfield is another thing worth mentioning. Yes. Yes. Where's Aeon from? Because they seem to have a
Canada?
lot of knowledge about.
I know Canada's a country, not really a location, but I think somewhere in Canada.
Yeah, there I go. I go away and I come back again. It's like every 30 seconds. Here's my video. I will talk about that real quick.
Edmonton.
George and I both. Am I back? I'm back.
You're back. You're back.
We both agree that. Oh, Edmonton. I love Edmonton. We both agree that when you rig your camera, we're trying to get the camera as close to above the player's head as possible without obscuring or making it just really weird. So we're not going to put the cameras in the middle of the playfield. We're going to boom the cameras out towards the player, which also helps with reflections. Because if you think about how the pinball machine's glass is angled, it eliminates reflections based on where you're going to be. So we get them close to the flippers, basically. I've been keeping my playfield lens pointed perpendicular to the glass. Yeah. I kind of instinctively do that. I hadn't given it a thought, actually, Jedi.
So I try not to, because perpendicular to the glass, I feel like, is a different perspective. I want to give people as close to my perspective as possible.
No. That's what we mean that, George. So
Okay.
You keep it closer to you, right? But so think about how the glass is, and then the camera's like here. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
not the center, but we're talking about the same kind of thing.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Maybe I was thinking, yeah, okay. Cool.
Aeon says the glass and the playfield angles are not the same. That is correct. They are different angles.
Oh!
That is the point.
Yeah,
They
okay.
are definitely different angles. It gets shallower as it gets closer to the lock bar, and it gets more wide as it goes out.
Not so much here or here, but right there.
Yeah.
Anytime you can throw in a Tommy Boy reference, I feel like I should.
All right. So we're gonna move on to.
Yes. Okay, so turning off the pin stadiums. God, that Sony A6400's like, I don't care.
Yeah. You see that, guys?
Yeah.
That's where money gets you.
Okay, cool. So now this is without any of the external lighting, and now we're going to switch over to, I have two LED lamps set up at a slight angle on one side of the playfield, illuminating it from the side. I'm going to turn those on now. Jedi
Just made me
McMuffin.
laugh.
No, I do not typically use an A6400 on the playfield. Okay.
Barely an inconvenience.
So this is, instead of dual illumination from the Pin Stadium extremes on both sides, which, by the way, sorry, there's a light over here on me. This is 2 LED lamps. One, they're both from the same side, which is the right side of the playfield, lifted up and angled down to kind of put light into the playfield from one side.
Wow. So that actually, so from that angle, right? It's getting a lot of light from one side. That creates this kind of cool contrast, right? Because you're creating harsh shadows. So you're setting his key light, right? Hard on one side, right? And then everything else is just fill. It makes this nice depth. MBT3K, are you drinking wine out of a coffee cup?
Man, Jedi must know you really well.
It's like Johnny Carson used to do. Trade secret. So let's take a look. Now notice, see how much depth that creates actually for the ball. Now the ball has this nice kind of hot shadow on the playfield, which is kind of nice. I mean, part of the reason that George and I were doing this is because we wanted to be surprised also. We wanted to get some we're like scientists. We want to actually be surprised by what our outcomes are. If you look, you can see the razor is still blurry. The Sony A6400 super sharp, and I think that has more to do with frames per second. If you're running at 30, good luck.
Look at the smoothness of the Handycam right now as I do this back and forth. Even the A6400 isn't dealing with smoothness very well. The Handycam is the best, I think, out of the bunch. The Razor is by far the worst.
Yeah.
The 920 is killing it at 30 frames per second. That is great.
Yep. The 920 is actually quite good, and this is the kind of stuff that we want to. What?
Wolfman, what is a hot shadow? Quit making stuff up, FT.
Did I say hot shadow?
You said hot shadow. Whatever, it's a hot shadow.
It's a hot shadow is one that doesn't have like a lot of softness on the edges.
Exactly, it's a shadow with a 6-pack. Because it's not soft.
Shadow nose.
Ah, nice. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I'll keep playing here, and you guys can keep trying to figure out and talk about the differences. Oh my god. Don't bring my play into this, though, because it's awful right now.
MBT3K, you're a hot shadow. Thank you, Wolfman.
Hell yeah.
So this is the kind of lighting that I see people starting off with, though, right? They won't go out and get pin stadiums, and we're not endorsing for you to go out and get pin stadiums. This is not, the show is not sponsored. We love Scott to death, but who has $350 to spend on pin stadium? 2 LED panels like this should run you $50 each?
Oh no, they were 30, I think 25.
There you go. I was up in it because I was like, okay, but it's a heck of a lot of light.
Yeah.
George, can I ask you, are those panels are they diffused? Do they have diffusion plastic over them?
They do have diffusion plastic. Yeah. And I can play with the warmth of these panels. And I have them hooked up to two little arms, so I can kind of, like here, this is me repositioning this one. Yeah, they're on articulating arms. Thank you for the word. There we go. But I'm going to drop that down a little lower because that is right in my camera.
Yeah, the Razor is like stop motion right now, so we're seeing what we're getting.
And I have that exact same issue with the Razor, even in meetings. It has never worked well for me. I guess I have never enjoyed the Razor Keo, and I don't know if this is version 1 and it's problematic because I've had this Keo now for at least a year, if not 2. I think I got it shortly after they released the Razor Keo.
Hey CNK, what's up?
CNK, hi.
All right. Which light do you want to add now?
Oh, actually, what I want to do is really quick, just so that way people see the difference. This is 2 LED frames. I'm gonna turn these guys off. This is just 1 LED frame. Let's see.
Wow.
On the front, let's see what this does really quick.
Those things are powerful. They're like little 1Ks.
Oh man, I've got them turned up all the way too.
Isn't there a firmware update for the Keo that fixed some stuff?
That
Flipstream.
Flipstream, that might be a possibility. And the other issue I have with Razer is in order to use Razer effectively, I feel like, not even, they work out of the box, but their software is awful. If you have to install the Razer software, it is the most bloated piece of crap ever. And on top of that, they switched from their OG version to a new version, and they didn't offer backwards compatibility with all their products. When I said I was a Razer fanboy, I mean it. The laptop, I had the Nostromo gamepad, which is a programmable 16-key gamepad.
We had Nostromos all the time, yeah.
I had the keyboard, the mouse, the headphones, the microphone, and the camera. I had the entire setup, and the only cool thing was the integrated light stuff you could do, where like a color would move between all the devices. That, to me, was the only cool reason to have a Razer. The Razer, the software, I feel like, is awful and bloated, A. B, their mice, I constantly, regardless of the computer they're plugged into, as I'm using them, I have to unplug them and plug them back in.
Wow.
Anonymous says, buy more cams. Yes.
So
that...
Yeah, so there's the Razer, right?
Yeah, that was one light. I really quick want to throw the extremes back up. Now you guys have seen what two lights, what one light are like. Now here are the Razer extremes. What's the difference?
Can you turn them off and on again?
Yes.
Just turn them off. So without Razers?
Not without extremes. Pin Stadium.
Without extremes. Sorry, without extremes.
Back
and now
on.
with extremes.
Off.
Off.
On.
On.
Right? And now really quick, I'm going to turn it off. And now I'm going to turn these two guys back on. All right, so these are the two LED panels. And you're absolutely right to me. I feel like I'm seeing the shadows that are cast because these are coming from just one side.
Now remember, everybody, these are set on auto, so they're going to change themselves based on how much light they're getting.
Yep.
But in most cases, I'm not going to say for the A6400 or the 405, but the Razer and the 920s are going to have to work a little less. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so I'm going to turn these both off.
Hey, it's Dog. Thank you so much for the kudos on the videos. How many LEDs are in those boxes?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 154? Is that right? 80 plus, I don't know, 18 times that by 8.
Minnesota Pinball. We mentioned before that George just threw a prime lens on the 6400.
144.
If you throw on, if he moves the camera back or if you change it to a zoom, it'll get the full play field. But we're getting the gist of the 6400 right
Yes. Now. Yeah. That's unfortunately I didn't have a larger arm for the 6400 and as you said I don't have a zoom lens on it right now. So we get what we get and we don't throw a fit, as I like to tell my daughter.
Right. So Flipstream, exactly that. Pretty much the same aside from the unidirectional shadows. Beautiful.
Yep.
And
okay,
MBT3K,
now
remind me.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
MBT3K, remind me of which one you use. Hey, it's Doug. Which one what? Just because I'm trying to keep up with everybody's but I'll be happy to remind you. CNK, it's all about depth. Attack from Philly. Small field light will knock out the shadows. Basically, the extremes are acting as the fill. If George uses the LEDs, which he does, he also uses the extremes. The extremes are not the key at that point because they have a really long, wide dispersal of light. The LEDs are very sharp on the playfield. I use the 405.
Yep. I also use the 405 for the playfield. I use the A6400 for me. So, who's ready to see what all of the lights looks like? because we can Tim the Toolman tailor this, and at the same time, that this what we're about to see here in a second is what I use normally, which is all 4 lights at once. So,
All right, tell us when you do it so we can see the change.
Here's the bottom one and the top one. So now, this is all 4 lights at once.
Now I want you guys to take a look at some really good. This table we picked, it wasn't a mistake to pick this table. The Ghostbusters machine has that beautiful detailed zombie yeti, right? Artwork. But there's also that cityscape in the background that just gobbles up light.
I have this right here just to my left.
Oh my God.
Yeah, sorry. I'm interrupting, but Aeon Black says, George, can you put a light behind you to the left? And I have these 2 massive LED lights, each about maybe 5 feet away from me, lighting me up from both sides. But I now have a crappy camera looking at me that's also happens to be picking up the playfield camera, right, the playfield light right there. Can we just see that one on? All right, hold on, give me a sec.
Anonymous.
Do you mean to this side, or it's got to be to this side because it's going to be really hard to put the light over there. You continue doing your thing.
Okay, Anonymous. You said I just use 1 LED panel. How big? Can you just let me know how big it is? Like, is it a? Can you tell me how big it is, Anonymous? Because you know, brother's got to know, right? Let's see. Holy moly, A6400. No wonder. A6400 showing some grain now. Yeah, it's going to show grain because they're all on auto, so they're all going to... A6400 is actually fighting against all the light now because its sensor is super sensitive. Wonder why the Razer has such a bad frame rate. We talked about that a little bit earlier, where there may be a firmware upgrade for the Razer. That'll fix that.
Hey, I'm doing this all for you here.
Hey, Anonymous, it's running 1080p 30 to keep up resolution.
I don't know if Aeon, if that's what you were looking for.
Interesting.
And let's see. Wonder why the Razer has such... Yeah. As I've mentioned before, I have been super disappointed in every Razer piece of equipment I've owned, with the exception of my keyboard, which is my all-time favorite keyboard. But I've had their laptop, the first Razer. So I had the Razer, the 2014 version of the Razer 17-inch Pro series laptop, and it died and never turned back on about 2 months after I got it. And it was just, it was my work laptop, and I was working on something. It stopped, and it just never booted. And then they had me send it back, and they just sent me a new laptop, which was great in terms of customer service. But I also had to pay for shipping because they weren't willing to get me a replacement laptop within 72 hours of shipping. It was going to be a 2-week process, and it was awful. Their mice, I constantly have to plug and unplug across multiple pieces of hardware. Their microphone was kind of a joke, honestly. And I feel like this camera, the Razer Kiyo camera, doesn't work well on a bus with other USB devices, if that makes sense. Right now, I have to have this hardwired directly into my laptop. I can't have it going into a hub. It just doesn't handle it well.
Huh. I'm looking at the LED light that Anonymous uses. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So he's basically got the equivalent of your 2 LEDs.
In one light.
In one light, yeah.
Okay.
Is that? Correct me if I'm wrong, Anonymous. Now, this likes warm lighting, 5K all the way. Flipstream. Did you just describe a cam link? Jedi's funny. I found that only certain. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation about USB bandwidth.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, okay. So, George, what I want you to do now, and I know it may be easy, it may not be easy. We're going to go through and we're going to dial in
the cameras.
Each of the cameras one at a time.
Okay.
And I guess maybe we just start from left to right. Um, I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Whatever's easiest.
Yeah, so the A6400, does it really need any dialing in right now?
Well, you got some. You got some. Maybe something that you could do. I don't know.
I've got nothing. It is set to I have it set to movie mode right now, so it's not even. I honestly I can't override anything, and it's amazing. It's just nailing it, right? I'm very happy with the A6400. The problem I have with the A6400 as a playfield cam is that I feel like the 405 is more buttery in terms of smoothness. By the way, I'm gonna have to turn this off now because that is. Eon, I hope that's what you were looking for, was to see that light behind me like that.
Fliptronic. Do you think there's any risk putting 3 cam sources and a mic on one hub that connects to the PC via Thunderbolt 3? I don't think there's anything wrong with any of what you just offered as long as it provides the power that all of the things need. Thunderbolt 3 definitely has the bandwidth. I have no experience with that. My machine does have Thunderbolt 3 on it. I have no experience with that, so I guess your mileage may vary. Tech from Philly. It's crazy how cheap these setups can be now. Yes, we had a talk show set on a school bus years back, and it was so much more expensive to set it up. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to adjust the exposure manually now and turn off low light compensation.
On which one?
This is the Razer Kio.
Okay, Razer.
Yep, I'm going to play with the gain just a hair. It seems like it should come down a bit. Right. I'm going to adjust the white balance.
DRI's rating with a party of 4. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, DRI374, thank you so much. My hat's off to you. Thank you. This is a very weird stream, and MPT3K can describe kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, really quick for those who just tuned in. We're going through 4 different kinds of cameras that George happens to have on hand. We're not making any endorsements for any of them, but they are 3 of them he does use, and we're seeing what their auto settings look like and dialed in settings look like, all based around how much lighting that you have on the table. Because the argument is one camera will look better than the other because of other reasons in lighting. It's a lot of it is lighting. A ton of it is lighting. So we're going to show you guys. Right now he's dialing in the Razer Kio.
That looks.
And I think
that looks a little
better.
Get. Yeah. Okay, so there goes the Kio. Now I'm going to dial in the 920.
So he's going to the Logitech C920. And we're dialing these in. We're mostly using maybe Windows drivers to set exposure and focus, maybe gain.
Yeah, I got to adjust the exposure down a notch.
There's not a lot you can do.
Gain, I bring that up just a hair. So maybe like that.
Anytime that you can have 60 frames per second, you should use 60 frames per second, especially on a playfield camera. Yep. On talent and on DMDs and stuff, 60 is not. It doesn't really help. It doesn't hurt. Looks great, but you don't really need it.
And now let's play with the Handycam. So that's the 920. I think that's as nice as I can get that. I actually have a lot less I can do from the computer on the Handycam, but I can adjust the saturation up. Which, by the way, so this is where it sits normally without adjusting anything on camera. And I'm just going to pump that
Outer
up.
Orbit. What's up, Outer Orbit? Oh, this is great. Christian. This is... Christian works in the video industry, actually. I used to work in the video industry.
Oh, cool.
And he runs Outer Orbit. And he and I have never had this conversation, but I think there were some doubts from him about the CX405. So, see for yourself which one looks better, and then buy the one that you want to buy. We have the A6400, we have the Razer Kio, we have the Logitech 920, and we have the CX405, which is the staple of pinball streaming. Anonymous, back in my day, all we had was Logitech, and you could only adjust the last webcam you're plugged in. You kids have it easily now.
So
that's not how Anonymous sounds, though.
What do you guys think? Do you think the warmer colors on the Handycam? I feel like that's kind of nice, but everything else is definitely cooler. I think I'm just going to put it back so we're comparing apples to apples, I guess. Okay. I mean, there's not a ton I can do with the Handycam either. And then just to confirm,
You know, the Razor got better. It's still crap, but it got better.
yeah,
You gotta play. You gotta play.
I gotta play. Let's you guys tell me what you think here as I'm playing. Not on my gameplay, mind you. This is all just for the cause.
So you guys are talking about 4K. Yeah, the RF 800 is a 405 basically. Yeah, that's true.
Owl,
Is there
I
any
completely
positive-
agree.
Yeah. Owl. Handycam is the best game. Is there Fliptronic? Is there any positive / negative aside from flicker to go to higher or lower shutter speed? That's a terrific question.
Terrific, yeah. You're on your YouTube
One of my
channel.
videos.
Yeah, one of your videos talks about that specifically.
We talk about the exposure triangle and how ISO and f-stop and shutter speed all affect each other. For us, generally speaking, we're going to change the shutter speed. See how the inserts are flashing? If your shutter speed is set wrong, those flashes can turn into just
By the
not
way,
flashing.
let's say it's actually flashing like that.
That's how Ghostbusters tells you the status.
Yeah.
And shutter speed is actually greatly affected on your DMD because you could wreck your DMD. And I'm talking about the regular Williams type DMDs, not the LCD Sterns. If you have the wrong shutter speed.
There is the handsaw. I probably shouldn't be nudging like that.
Yeah. Oh God, please. Please don't destroy your 4 Ghostbusters machines.
Yeah, yeah.
So Anonymous is saying the Handycam is the best. You know what? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the Handycam is the best for the value you get. It is an amazing 60 frames per second. If you dial it in and you don't go all auto, sometimes I'll even set the focus.
Yep.
Autofocus will breathe sometimes, and we'll do tournaments, and the focus will breathe, and people get so mad. And I'll go in and I'll say 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, dial it in. Hey, MPT3K, have you gotten better at Black Knight Sword of Rage? Next question. We Love Pinball says the Razor is the worst. There you go. Attack from Philly said,
I'm happy to hear somebody else. I guess at least not that I want a product to be bad, but somebody else have maybe a similar experience with Razer products.
Attack from Philly says, I think the Logitech colors look the best.
That is
George,
me dialing those in
Yeah.
independently.
Yeah, I mean it's still a valid claim. If you don't go with, auto, and you have an eye like George, you can dial it in to make them look good. I mean,
And I do
don't
that
need to-
every stream. I turn up that saturation. Like it comes at it shows it at 150. I don't know. I guess maybe it's because it's a 255, so it must be storing it as a oh my god, as a binary value, like doing binary bit-based calculations, because you can do a 32-bit int in terms of you can store, it's 8 different bytes, and you can store a set of on and offs for that and get up to the number 255. So as you're moving the slider, you're moving between 0 and 255. If you want to know, I think, why you have those values to go between on a computer, and it always starts at 150, and I think you can move it up to. I like to put it, depending on the machine. This machine's actually a little too colorful, so I'll move it up to like 175, 180 when I stream it. But some machines, like Total Nuclear Annihilation, just are amazing with extra saturation turned on. They look awesome, I think, in my opinion. Now, I've definitely had people call me out for unrealistic colors, like, oh my god, but I don't know. I have really bad eyesight. Everything's blurry and super colorful to me, so I'm okay with it.
Wolfman always makes me laugh. He says, I checked the exposure triangle diagram and then I set everything to auto.
Okay. So you guys got to see this, I feel like, at all of the dialed-in settings. I'm going to play one more, and then we can
Yep.
start removing things and see what it looks like in low light with those same dialed-in
With
settings.
the same settings, yes.
Yeah, kind of work our way back down.
I'm really looking forward to that. So you guys will get to see how these cameras deal with low light dialed in, which should be very illuminating. Ha 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 ha.
Ha. Now, really good question here is Manu, you're going to put this on your YouTube channel afterwards. And
Yes.
what I kind of want to do is post this along with pictures of my setup right now. I think that would be really helpful to see all of the lights and where they're positioned and how bright they are and kind of
Yep.
the mounting equipment, and then also see this ridiculous thing. And just for funsies, I do want to show you the fact that we have counterweighted the boom mic stand with a handsaw because that's just awesome. So how will people be able to go and see those things once you've posted this video to YouTube?
I'm going to edit those into the video, so
Okay.
get to see it. Maybe in this section right here, but I'll edit those. You send me some shots, and I'll edit those into the video so you can all see it. That's going to be on Mystery Pinball Theater 3000 on YouTube. Okay, probably. Let's see. Auto orbit. I have such a hard time dialing in that CX405 thing in. I do autofocus on that too. Christian, just take it home with you, and just fool around and just hit the buttons. George actually showed me yesterday in our dual stream of Ghostbusters. He showed me before the show how to do something I never thought I could do on the CX405. And so I was like, thank you. So that's what we're doing these kind of things about, because I don't want you to go out and spend $1,000 on a playfield camera when you don't need to. Think about it. Your final delivery, guys, is 6 megabits per second to Twitch.
Yep.
At 1080. What are you doing? Like, even Jack Danger with his 8 megabits per second. He's not gonna go out and get a Red Epic to shoot a 60 frames per second playfield.
All right.
Yes, and go to Outer Orbit because it's awesome.
All right, now I'm turning off the LED cameras here. The LED lights, leaving the Penn Stadium Extremes on. Swizzlefish, welcome to the stream.
Boom. So George's augmented LED panels are gone. All we have.
Now, I've got to go back in and dial in the exposure. If you remember, the first thing I did dialing in and getting everything set correctly was to actually disable auto exposure and kind of dial it in the way I wanted it. So now I've got to go back in.
Oh, you're actually going to adjust them now?
I gotta, right? In order to show what it can do, I guess, at low light settings. Right?
What do you guys think? Is that a thing we can do?
It just takes a sec. Oh, I gotta turn this up now. There we go.
I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Holy smokes. Yeah. TLDR. Lights fix 90% of the problems. Thank you, Aeon.
They really, really do. I've said that so many times. Jedi, I hope all of the crap I gave you about lighting and wanting more lighting, and I'm like, I have 4 lights on the playfield. I want to increase it to 6. I hope that makes more sense now after watching this, or maybe it doesn't. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this again just so that way I can take a look at actually how it helped or didn't help as much as maybe I thought it was. But I have been such a brat about lighting, and I feel like that's because of MPT3K and everything you've taught me about cameras and lighting so far. Hopefully this looks a little bit better, by the way.
Fliptronic says best to use the lowest ISO. Your lighting lets you get away with 100, 200 best. Yeah, well, look, you're not going to find the ISO on a C920. But, yeah, right. Hey, it's Dog. MPT3K, is sound through the internal mic of the camera? No, typically we're going to use a microphone. We're going to use a separate USB microphone. George has a separate USB microphone. I have a little separate USB microphone. Most pinball streamers are going to use a separate microphone.
Yeah, that's not the topic, but really quick, what microphone are you using? Because you sound amazing, Manu.
Well, this is not what I use for pinball. This is a condenser. This is like a $200 condenser microphone.
Okay.
But what I use for pinball, believe it or not, it's a $29 USB microphone. It's like called a Fifine or something, and it's got a gain dial on it. It's $29. Well, it was before the pandemic. Um, but I've seen a lot of people use Blue Yetis. People use different type of
Yeah, I'm using the
microphones.
Blue Yeti X, and I'm in a
Um,
garage, which I think, if I don't sound awful, really says something about the microphone.
oh boy. Well, only Auto Orbit says, well, only one exposure system can be manual, can be on manual, right? I'm sorry, I didn't scroll back enough to see. Uh, hey, this is awesome. Thank you, Swizzlefish. Oh, okay, Flipstream, you got him.
God, that
Would
920
be
looks amazing. Can I just throw that out there? For the
yeah.
cheapest of the bunch at 30 frames per second with lighting, the color looks really good. I don't know how it looks as I'm playing. I'm assuming it just looks like a decent 30 frames per second, and the A6400 and the Handycam look kind of buttery. But
Yeah.
oh, by the way, how does and I'm sorry, I'm interrupting as you were going through chat, but how does the Keo look after the settings changes? I feel like it got better. Like, even here with my hand moving, it
It
doesn't look as awful.
it has got better. It's still in last place, but it's a much better last place than it looks on its auto settings. Um, We Love Pinball says it would also be interesting to compare the C920 to the 922 with 60 frames per second. Yes, it would.
It would. I gave
Yeah.
my 922 to my brother, who promised me that he would start streaming Warhammer 40K, and has yet to ever actually do it. I sent him two cameras. I sent him my Razer microphone, which I just bashed a little bit ago. I sent him hardware for mounting everything and a laptop. He's
He's a
gonna
terrible brother.
he's gonna do it one of these days because he's amazing at it.
I feel like We Love Pinball. I feel like many streamers start with the C922 because they see the 60 frames per second, 1080, and their eyes they just fall in love. And then if anyone asks me to buy that camera, I say please run for the hills. Don't buy that camera. And the reason I say don't buy that camera is because it is a USB hog, and it doesn't play well with other things you're going to want to add unless your machine is insanely beefy. But all that being said, yes, I would love to see a comparison between the two. That'd be something that we could probably do at some point.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so now I turned off all of the external lighting, and I'm going through and cleaning up the Logitech right now. I'm going to go through and hit up the Razer Keo. Let's go in here.
Wait a minute, Flipstream. I don't know if you're correct. It says We Love Pinball 922 doesn't do 1080p 60, only 1080p 30.
Correct.
Which one does 1080p 60?
That's the 9. Sorry, I thought you said 920.
No, the 922 does 1080p 60.
It's supposed to,
It's supposed to.
but we don't think it actually does. And
I don't think it actually. Yeah, I don't think it achieves it. Written on the box, it says 1080p 60. But neither George or I really. If you put it up against a 1080p 60 like the 405.
Okay. So, here we go. The Handycam, I never took off of auto exposure because it just does a great job. I didn't have to dial it in. So it's on auto exposure 920. I turned up a little bit. The Keo I turned up a little bit, and the A6400 is also on auto exposure, so I didn't mess with that. And so now we're playing without any external lighting. This is just the game by itself.
Oh, Jedi, you've got the same microphone. That's cool. Cool. So there's a lot of chat, this is terrific. There's a lot of chat about alternatives you can get, cheaper things. This is great. This is where we want this kind of mix and exchange of information, because George and I, we love facts. I mean, why use facts when you have your feelings to take you through life? No. We want to use facts. But I feel. Yeah, but I go research. Okay.
Apparently, my other camera was kind of helping out, or my other light was kind of helping out a little bit.
Wow, look at that. So what are we looking at right now?
There is no lighting on this game.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, besides ambient lighting essentially in the room.
So we've completely lost the webcams. They're gone. The Razer and the Logitech. When the general elimination is not happening on the table, if you saw that at moment when the game was over and it was just flashing little bits, the 405 and the 6400 still visible.
Specifically, the Razer and Logitech are not set to automatic ISO. They're still set to static, and I'm dialing in the settings, if you remember. So both Sonys are set to auto, which is why they're showing the playfield at no light. So the Razer and the Logitech 920 I have set to look really as good as I thought I could make it by manually setting those. I could go set them to auto, but I think they look awful at auto. Like the camera just doesn't do anywhere near as good of a job as Sony does of auto detecting what the auto would be. But after I play a ball, I'll switch the Razer and Logitech over to auto so we can see that.
Outer orbit, yes. Thank you for the clarification. I just jumped into the last part of that stream. Flipstream says you should really do 720p 60. The Logitech is likely to improve in quality. You may have a point there, Flipstream.
Not this one, but a different one.
A different one, yeah. Hey, it's Dog. MBT3K, please remind me of which mic you use. It's called a Fifine. It's from a company called Fifine. Fifine. Just look it up on Amazon. I don't remember the model. Sorry, but it's the cheap one. We Love Pinball, I think 50. Yes. We Love Pinball said Flipstream. I think 60 frames per second is much more important than 1080p. Correct. We agree.
Yep.
We Love Pinball says, I can test it for you guys. I have both cameras. Terrific. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Is We Love Pinball in the Discord? Are you in Discord?
Yes, he is. And he has his own Discord. By the way, We Love Pinball also streams. We have battled We Love Pinball. He destroyed me on Jurassic Park. It was a wonderful time.
Oh, I remember that. Let's see. The C922 doesn't do 1080p 60. I have one. It's a minor upgrade to the C920.
I definitely bought the 922, and I feel like on the box it said it did 60 frames per second, but I think in actuality it never gets there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And Flipstream. I'm going to take a look at it because it's in a box somewhere in my house. I use the 920s or I don't use a webcam at all. Brio does 1080p 60. Brio was a whole different conversation. Brio.
Minnesota Pinball, do you really need more than 3 cams total? I think it's nice to... okay, so this has been a recent change for me. I've started adding in a 4th camera. To do, like, on Black Knight, I'll zoom it in on the night so you kind of get to see what they're doing. On Attack from Mars, I had it on the big UFO. I pick something I try to find on each game where I can kind of zoom in on it. I have the mod on Ghostbusters not installed yet. It's the last mod I have yet to install. That will actually make the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man during the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man mode actually start walking left and right. So I would put it on there for Ghostbusters. And all of that said, the other place I would put it if I didn't know where else would be to actually mount it inside with a light, so that way I could show the tilt pop, which I used to do back in the day, but it's a real pain in the butt because getting light under the playfield consistent usually requires batteries, and that requires remembering to charge the batteries on the lights, which is really irritating. Okay. What else was I... Oh, we were going to go back through and set the Razer and Logitech to auto, and then I think we've kind of run the whole gamut between these 4 cameras.
I think Flipstream is blowing my mind. Why do I remember 60 frames per second for the 922?
I also remember that. Maybe they changed their marketing.
Maybe they changed the marketing, or they're blowing my mind. I'm not seeing any history of 60 frames per second being claimed for the 922.
Maybe just made it up then, apparently.
Wow.
Okay.
922 has 720p with 60 frames per second.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Marketing. I bought a couple of Blackmagic micro cinemas for around $600 on eBay. Okay, that's outer orbit. You know what, Christian? I got to come down to the shop and just see what the that you put together.
You need to start that another quarter of a second earlier and continue pressing it after the k. Just FYI, because I heard the f and I heard the k. All I missed was
What?
the
What the in that shop? All right. What are we doing now, George?
Okay,
Just to
so
close this up.
yeah, so the now everything is set to auto, and we're back to no lighting on any of this. So there's no external lighting. All three. That's right. I'm not supposed to do that because of the handsaw.
Oh boy.
So there's no external lighting. I am going to move this back that way just a hair.
I got to tell you, the 6400 and the 405 are the only ones really surviving. The 920 is doing decently. Now, and the 920 looks like every beginner streamer's stream.
Yep. Really quick. Now, just to show you guys what happens here, everything is on auto. Let's plug it all back in. So this is all 4 lights on the playfield. Let's play the next ball like this because I have a feeling the action is going to get a lot smoother if I can keep a ball going.
Fourth camera is a luxury. Attack from Philly says. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. We love Pinball says, for my playfield capture, I'm currently using a 4K Handycam from Sony. Cool. Win Radiator. Sorry if covered. Was there a capture card recommendation instead of, well, okay, I'm going to stop you right there. We're not talking about capture cards today. I think we talked about capture cards in a previous episode of Second Stream Super Bowl that you can find on Mystery Pinball Theater 3000's YouTube channel.
Yes. Do you want to throw up a link to that playlist or to your
Sure.
channel as a whole?
Yeah.
That would be
a
cool
great
to
idea.
get people there.
I'll throw it up directly to the playlist. But yeah, wind. That's a long conversation, and we're happy to have that. I think that's a link to a playlist. I think I did this right. Christian sent me a photo on Facebook. What do you send me? Outer Orbit is sending me stuff secretly in different chats. Oh, jeez. I wish I could share. Oh, my God. I wish I could share this with chat. You're not moving that rig. You're not moving that rig, Christian. That rig is not going anywhere.
Oh, I thought you meant my rig. And my rig, if I
No.
take the handsaw off as a counterweight, is going to fall and destroy everything. Which I can't wait to see the full video once I send you all the pics of how this is set up, because this is definitely embarrassing, but at the same time I'm kind of proud of myself because I came up with this very quickly, and the number of cameras up here right now is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
So I just want to say this, and I think this is going to be the last thing I say before we wrap it up.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I don't want to wrap it up. I would love people to have conversation, chat, and everything. Everybody who's here right now, who's sticking around, who's stuck around for the long haul, we're all in this to get the best streams possible. So we're all going to have input on this discussion. We all have different access to different cameras. We all have different skills. So it'd be great if, we can. There's George's Discord. We have a Stream Tech channel on there. We talk about this stuff all day long. George and I just wanted to share some of this information and discover stuff on our own about lighting and playfields. And what do you got, George?
Nothing. Honestly, I ditto everything you said. There's an amazing community around pinball on the Discord that we have. If you hit, in fact, I'll just throw that in there. If you guys want to jump into the Discord if you're not already there, lots of wonderful chat. You can click that link to join that's going on there. At the same time, Tilt Forums, I just found recently and is amazing. Lots of great conversation going on Tilt Forums. Manu, did you have anything else you wanted to go over tonight?
No, I'm ready to watch this again.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
That was super fun. I can't wait to go back and watch it myself, so that way I can hopefully learn. Because as well as playing, I really couldn't look to see what the differences were. So I'm kind of excited to go back and
Yeah.
see what those differences were. Anyway, you guys, my name is George, and with me tonight we had Manu from MPT3K. If you have not given him a follow, you need to do so. If you guys want access to this video, once it's up on YouTube, go check out Mystery Pinball Theater 3000. I think Manu put a link up. We'll make sure to get that link up on Discord to this video once Manu has gone through and done some editing. Otherwise, throw follows out to everybody. Lots of content coming out right now. Everybody has a bunch of extra time, and for the people that don't have extra time, they're just doing it because they can. Lots of fun pinball, lots of games, and lots of good times. You guys have a wonderful night and a safe and fun Memorial Day tomorrow. If you're in the U.S., if you're not, just enjoy your Monday. Talk to y'all later.